All right. Next word is, essential word is wide. That's very easy, right? Wide. Wide would be, and what part of speech is it? Is it a noun, is it an adverb, is it an adjective, is it a verb?
Adjective.
Adjective? Okay, what's the noun for it? What's the what of your pants or jeans? The wide of your jeans?
Width.
Say it again.
Width.
Yeah. So width. So for example, if this thing is here, we have a shape. A cube. Not a cube, like a rectangular cube. If this is a rectangle, this would be the, which one is the width? A or B?
B.
B is the width, so A is what?
Height.
No, it's just a rectangle. It has no
Oh.
height.
Length.
Yeah. So which one? No, width is which one?
B is width and A is length. Right?
Wide is usually longer
Yeah.
in Germany. If this is the swimming pool, and here's the dive, and this is Chris. Okay, Chris is this part, which is let's say A, and this part, which is B. This would be the width of the swimming pool, and the lines, and this is me, Ray, and this is Michael Phelps. And here's Chris. Yeah. Ray and Phelps are neck and neck. Have you heard neck and neck? Neck and neck. What is neck and neck? When there's a competition and we're running, or like two horses or two swimmers or two people, they're running, and they're so close that the camera cannot say who's first. They're running neck and neck. And sometimes we have a photo finish. Photo finish. Because like looking at people, you can't judge who won, right? They should go look at the photo and see whose head was, for example, closer to the finish line. That's called photo finish. Photo finish. So if two people are neck and neck, does it make sense? If two people are running, or two people are driving, or two people are two horses are neck and neck. And it's hard to say who's the winner, who the winner is. Yeah? So that's neck and neck. It's called photo finish, this kind of finish. But when I look at the swimming pool, this part is the long is always longer than wide, right? The side that is longer, that's why we call it length, because it's longer. It's a rule of thumb, you know rule of thumb? Rule of thumb. But not even rule of thumb, it's common sense. You know common sense? Yeah, okay? What something is common sense? If something is longer, so that's the length. It's common sense. When you look at this desk, this part is the length. So this part is longer. So this is the length. Well, in Germany, maybe things are different.
Yeah. That's it.
But I'm sure in Japan, this is the length. Yeah? I don't know about Germany. So we have this one, which is length. So we have B. So A is the width. B would be the length.
Or what about the broad?
So we have long. Yes, the broad side of thing, and then we have, good, So wide width is like something is broad, but we don't usually use the word breadth like that. Breadth of something. Yeah, let me check the spelling. Yeah, we have breadth, but it's the spelling is key. Yeah, that was with EA, like bread that we eat. That was right. So breadth. The breadth of his knowledge. Well, we don't say the width of his knowledge. The breadth of his knowledge. We say he has broad what? Broad shoulders, for example. Broad shoulders. You know broad shoulders? Chris has broad shoulders. Like his broad shoulder, right? Look at here. The football players, yeah, with those that the outfit, they look like they have really broad shoulders up to here. It's not real. So we have broad shoulders. The breadth of his knowledge. I admire the breadth of your knowledge. Yeah, nursing knowledge. Yeah. So breadth of knowledge. It's kind of, if you say I admire his breadth of knowledge or her breadth of knowledge, means it's very broad. So we have broad breadth. Long, length. Wide, wide, width, width, wide, width. Notice there's no E. Wide, width, long, length. Wide, width, long, length. Broad, breadth, but broad is like wide. Oh, it's a very broad alley. It's very broad. Broad as a noun is an old slang word for women. Yeah, and it's not very polite. So if you ever hear, it's an old slang.
She's an old broad.
An old broad, yeah, approached. Yeah, it's an old word. But if something is broad, that's as a noun. But if it's an adjective, it has broad shoulders, broad, straight, some broad knowledge. He knows a lot about something. The breadth of his knowledge. Now, when it comes to a cube has how many? 1, 2, 3 different whats? 3. We say 3D. 3. Three dimensions or dimensions. So dimension or dimension, right? Like when you watch a movie, which is a movie that is 3D. It's like, what is a 3D movie? Like, why do we call it 3D? Yeah, it has like 3 dimensions, right? Or dimensions. Do we have like a 4-dimension movie type of thing? And a lot is coming. I hear like we have some 4-dimension stuff.
Maybe with the bench movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been to a 4D movie, and then there was a scene where there were snakes, and then all of a sudden there were snakes being beneath your seat. Who
wow.
Or something that felt like it, and it was like.
How did you feel?
No one expected it to come, so it was really scary.
Where?
It was scary,
It
right?
was on Malta. It's an island below Italy.
Oh, because in that island they have so many snakes taken. Okay, so we have 3 dimensions or dimensions here. So one dimension, this would be, imagine it's like a rectangular thing, not a cube, this shape, like this. So then this would be the, let's say A, B, and C. So this would, A would be the length. I'm so happy it's not a math class. Length. C would be
Width.
with the width. Say width.
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 Now, first of all, I need a kiss from you. That means like what?
When.
Width.
Width. Width. Width.
Width.
Width.
Width.
Width.
Width.
Width.
Width.
Width.
Wide.
Wide.
Width.
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 Width. Width.
I don't hear your duh.
Width. I cannot do that.
It's hard.
What I don't get is sometimes you say width and sometimes you say width.
So it's width.
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 Yeah, but sometimes you
I want to exaggerate.
Yeah, but sometimes you add in like a silent e.
Yeah, because I want to add the kind of emphasize that there's both the and the. So, but it's basically width. Because at the end you don't continue with the. No, it's width.
Width.
Yes.
Width.
I don't hear your D.
Width. Width. Yeah? Width.
No.
And then
Width.
Yes, perfect.
width.
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 Yeah, but just don't continue. But yeah, but it's important to start with that squish, like the kiss. Do it?
Width.
Not exactly. W. Don't feel shy, guys. That's W. Chris does it very well. Chris? Chris, you and I, we can do it. That's the width.
Width.
Do it again.
Width.
Yeah, you see that? That's as beautiful as his kiss could be.
Width.
Yeah. Yeah,
Width. Width.
perfect.
Width. Width.
First is the, then is the. So width.
Width.
Guys, please work on it. So, how about length?
Length.
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 Length. Length.
So we have the width, we have the length, and what is this one?
Height.
Height. So wide, width, long, length, height. What is the adjective for height? High, height. Yeah. If I ask you how tall are you? I'm asking about your height. Chris is like 3 meters tall. Yeah. I don't know, like maybe about 8 feet tall. Chris, are you 8 feet?
What is 8 feet? Yeah, probably.
Yeah. It's like 2 meters 40 centimeters.
Oh.
Every foot, remember, every foot is around 30 centimeters. You don't have foot in inch system, and so it's only a British system.
It's only an American system by now.
No, it's actually British because Americans have both. Like they have the metric system as well.
Yeah.
They have both, but it was mostly the avoirdupois system, which is pound and inch and all that. So
But
it's,
the British have mostly converted to the
metric?
metric system right now, so it's actually only the US. You're all alone now.
so okay, feels good. That's called American exceptionalism.
Yeah, no, but this is
Right.
exactly what everybody is, what everybody hates in Canada. because when I was working with like with a craftsman, and he was always saying, "Oh, those stupid Americans! They're the reason why we always have to like two toolboxes, one with imperial system and one with our
No, that
uniform
person
metric
didn't
system."
know that this crazy system did not come from the US. This crazy system came from Britain.
The
Now,
system is so stupid.
yeah, I agree, because it's British. And I agree. It came from Britain. The Britain kind of got influenced by the rest of Europe after a while. Now, that's why they also have the metric system. So it kind of stayed here and in America. But, so we have long length, high height, wide width. Now, broad breadth, the breadth of his knowledge, broad shoulders. The road, now, so these are the 3 dimensions. High, height. The thing is, if you want to add one n here, what happens? You make a verb, right? Let's look at this. So, if you want to make a verb with wide, especially if you want to make alterations to your clothes, you know, you go to a place and say, do you do alterations? What does that mean? Do you do alterations or alteration? Do you alter clothes? So when you alter clothes is you change a little bit. For example, it's a little too tight or a little too wide, a little too short, or a little too long. Nothing's too long now. These days, nothing's too short. Everything's too long. It's amazing here. I see things are getting shorter and shorter by the year. So I see the high school girls here, and they, whenever they buy something, they also go buy a pair of scissors. They keep like cutting things shorter and shorter, and I like it. But they, and I see the way they talk to their friends, no, it's like no, and they keep rolling it up after they can't cut anymore, or it's just, they keep rolling it, and I love it personally. But that's called altering. So you, with short, for example, we say to shorten. With long, we say to what? Lengthen. I have long arms, so my problem always is, so if I buy a coat, that they have to do what? To the sleeve, they should always lengthen. Could you lengthen it a bit? And they go like, yeah, we can lengthen a bit. Like how much can you lengthen? So to lengthen. So you lengthen it, you shorten it. You have to shorten, lengthen. Widen. To widen. To widen. The gap. The widening gap. The widening. Yeah, we say widening gap between rich and poor. Rich and poor. And sometimes you say the ever widening gap between rich and poor. The ever widening gap between rich and poor. The road widens after, or broadens. The road widens or broadens. Or, what's the opposite? Or narrows. So, broad, narrow. Broad-minded, narrow-minded.
And the opposite of wide is also narrow. Right?
Narrow-waisted. Have you seen the narrow-waisted people? Do you like narrow-waisted guys?
No.
Sabrina? No? Like this really narrow waist. So we have narrow-waisted, narrow-waisted, which is like this. Narrow-waisted. Have you seen narrow-waisted guys? Okay. Not like really narrow waist. They have their waist is like just like this fit. I don't really know how these creatures even walk. Some of them are pretty tall even. So, yeah. So widen. So we have widen, which sounds so German. Lengthen.
It's the only reason I can remember it. Seriously now.
Yeah. Das ist ein Meichen der Seifen der Scheiße. That was pure German.
Yeah. Flawless.
Okay. Nein, das ist nicht okay. Yeah. I love your shoes.
Thank you.
They look cool. So American. So un-German.
Used to have those brown leather shoes, those Bavarian shoes, if you have noticed, even before.
They look so un-German.
Yeah.
So American.
Yeah,
I love the changes in you, and
Timberland.
Americanizing.
I have so many Timberlands and Caterpillars. I'm either like Timberlands or Caterpillars, or Doc Martens. Doc Martens British, but kind of like. So let's. Are we good? Seki? So what happened? Wide, width to widen, long, length, lengthen, but heighten. Yes. What are you thinking? Yeah. Heightened sense of smell. Heightened means to raise. For example, the pleasure was heightened by the sense of guilt that accompanied it. Wow. Heighten also. Okay? So, does this make sense, this whole thing? Of course. Yeah? It makes sense, right? So, what is she saying, Chris?
Nothing important.
Tell her my teacher misses you. Come over. Counting hours, right? Yeah. Okay. Are we good with this now? So this room is, for example, 3 meters long, 2 meters wide. It could be 2.5 meters high, or 3 meters high. It's almost 3 meters high. Yeah, almost 3 meters high. Let's say 4.5 meters long, 3.5 meters wide, and so we're down. Now, with wide, it's not just wide like your pants are wide. When you look at your pants, when you want to buy, it's like my size, just in case, is like 32, 34. Which would be 32, 32 would be okay too. This is W and this is L. So W is width, L is length. So the length and so if I buy pants that's like 30 or somebody buys me, this would be like 30 for me would be here. if it's 30W and 32. So if I'm 32 for jeans, size 30-32 would be very, this is L. Too what? Too tight. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Which is the opposite of wide. Tight. Like tight jeans. The internet, there's so many things like that. People trying to, yeah. Tight jeans. Or, yeah, so tight. If something is, if this is for me, if it's 30, this would be too tight, right? Too tight. Now, what should I do with something that's too tight if I want to alter it? Now, this is a riddle. What do I do with a pair of jeans that's too tight? Guys, we have all the words. Tighten. I tighten. Widen? I'll throw it away. There's no way you can widen a pair of jeans that's too tight. Unless you start cutting it and adding things, you can't widen it. If you take it to any tailor, you guys have never been tailors all your lives. If some change my size, I can either like go on a stupid diet, which I'll never, no. So yeah, if something is tight, you have to widen it. If it's possible. If something is too wide, you should tighten it. If something is too long, you shorten it. Should I shorten? Shorten. Shorten.
Shorten.
Yeah, you shorten it. If something is too short, you lengthen it. Lengthen. All of this sounds so German. Why, Chris?
It is German.
It is German. Now, with wide, we use wide in other contexts as well. So wide is the adjective. What's the adverb? What's the ad? So wide is the adjective. The adverb would be widely. So if I say he enjoys wide support among conservatives. So wide or broad support would mean he is widely, not wildly, supported by conservatives. It is widely believed that you should always check the weather, Chris, if you want to wear those shoes. You can only wear those shoes when it's not raining or it's not muddy outside or snowy, because
They're waterproof.
yeah, but the color proof, they're not mud proof in terms of the color and the things that will happen.
When I was working on a farm, there was one French guy, he just got brand new Timberland boots, but those were the only shoes that he had, so he was forced to work with those shoes in the mud. That was really painful to look at.
That's what I wanted to tell you. I feel. So, please use this in your writings. It is widely believed that. It is widely believed that vitamins are good for your health. However, is there however? No. It is widely believed that. Give me something that's widely believed. And then refute it. Say but.
It is widely believed that smoking is bad for your health.
But, indeed, it could be very good. I need something that would be widely believed, because you know conventional wisdom? Do you know about conventional wisdom? Conventional wisdom. What is conventional wisdom?
General knowledge, huh?
She's flexing muscle.
I'm sorry.
She's got a personal trainer.
Not anymore.
Not anymore?
It's just included in the session.
Mm. What is conventional wisdom?
Majority?
What people actually think. It is conventional wisdom that the conventional wisdom tells us that milk is good for you. But Jackson believes that this is wrong. So Jackson and his friends defy conventional wisdom, and they believe that no, milk is not. So conventional wisdom is basically wisdom that is shared by a large number of people. What is wisdom? Wise wisdom. You know wise wisdom? Wise wisdom. You know a wise man? We have wisdom teeth too, right? We have 4 wisdom teeth. So when we grow up, at around the age of, 17, 18 to 25, we grow 4 obnoxious, unnecessary teeth that are called wisdom teeth. They're very stupid and they're not wise at all, because they usually push the other teeth and they kind of like ruin things, and usually you should need to pull them out. And they kind of did this to my tooth here. That's why I hate them, my wisdom teeth. And before I had a chance to pull them out, they forced the teeth and they did this. So, here. Or here. One of these two. I don't know. That's called, what do you call them? Wisdom teeth in French. Don't you call them like wisdom teeth? The teeth that are wise? Supposedly in Japanese? Do you call them wise teeth? Like they're smart teeth or something like that? We call them wisdom teeth. The 4 teeth, the final teeth that we have in the back.
Like sage teeth.
Yeah, sage also means like, oh good. How about in German? Come in!
Same, yeah. Weisheitszähne.
The same? So these teeth are wisdom teeth, right? These teeth are wise teeth. So that's conventional wisdom. It is widely believed that those who wake up early, those who go to bed early and wake up early have a healthier lifestyle. Okay. Yeah. For white, we also have nationwide, countrywide, statewide, elections, protests. So nationwide elections are elections that are held in the entire nation. Protests, if they're nationwide, would be across the nation. Countrywide, across the country. Correct? Does that make sense? Wideness. Pine forests are found over a wide area of the Pacific Northwest. A wide area.
What word? Nothing in that. I don't know.
The senator has traveled widely. To travel widely. You have to travel widely. Now, countrywide elections, countrywide protests, countrywide demonstrations. Autonomous. What's autonomous? Okay, do you know? Autonomy. So is Mongolia autonomous? Is it an independent country? Because she's studying foreign policy. Foreign relations. Foreign what? Foreign something. She wants to become the Japanese ambassador to Mongolia. No? Yes, that's what you're studying, come on. Yeah. She's a final future diplomat. If a country is autonomous, it means it is independent. But how? Autonomy is actually a matter of self-rule. An autonomous country, an autonomous state is a state that is independent and is self-ruled and makes decisions for itself. It makes its own policies. For example, Canada won its independence from the United Kingdom in 1931, Westminster Treaty, if I'm not mistaken. It should be 1931. And actually, still, there were some problems. There were some, until 1982, if I'm not mistaken, 81 or 82. Then the parliament became much more independent. While still today it's not completely independent because it's still part of the Commonwealth, and still the head of state of Canada is Queen Elizabeth in England. still not a very an actual autonomous country, but they believe they're autonomous. So let's say they're autonomous because they make their own laws in parliament and they have a prime minister, and so it's an autonomous country. But independent or dependent, so we have in the US we have the independent state. Independence Day, which in America is the 4th of July. Right? 4th of July. 1976 it was. The United States was declared independent of Great Britain. And I would stop right here. Yeah. I won't tell them what they deserve to hear. But that's the Independence Day. So when a country becomes independent, it means it is no longer dependent, to depend on, right? To depend on someone or something. It no longer depends on a country. It's no longer a colony, right? Colony. Or Canada was called the Dominion. And Canada Day was called the Dominion Day until a few years ago. Just a few years ago it was called the Dominion Day. Because Dominion is a country that is not independent. Dominion is a dependent state that depends on another state. And it depended on Great Britain. So it was called the Dominion of Canada. Like the Dominion of Palestine. It was the Dominion of Palestine. Now Dominion is gone, we just call it Canada. And one of the few countries in the world that there's no, like the Republic of Canada, no. The Kingdom of Canada, no. The something of Canada, no. Just Canada. So we have colony, dominion, and whatever. Self-rule, independence, autonomy. And there is something we call self-sufficiency, which is different. A self-sufficient country, and we have self-sufficiency. Self-sufficiency. Many countries wanted to reach or to be self-sufficient. To reach self-sufficiency is hard. To be self-sufficient. If a country is self-sufficient, what does that mean? If a country is self-sufficient, it means it doesn't need resources from other countries. It means it produces all the things that it wants, and everything it needs comes from inside that country. That's independent. That's self-sufficiency, right? A self-sufficient country is like that. So autonomy, autonomous, an autonomous country, an autonomous state rules its own country. So is Mongolia an autonomous state? Yes. Approval, disapproval. We had it. We had the word before. So disapproval, approval. Yeah, the opposite of approval is disapproval. To disapprove something. He didn't approve it. And Their disapproval of the plan caused the experiment to be abandoned. The students disapproved of the plan of study. When you don't approve of something, you disapprove it, right? The plan was disapproved, rejected. Disrupt. We have interrupt and disrupt. Interrupt. What's the noun?
Interruption.
Disrupt. Hey, come in. Disruption. I don't know what happens in the mornings. I really don't know.
1 hour on bus. I cannot believe.
Yeah, I know. It's like these days, TTC is crazy. Just 2 days ago, I had the afternoon problem with TTC. What's the difference between disrupt and interrupt, Javi?
When you for example, she interrupt you during your class. While
Okay, you can.
you are teaching.
You can interrupt me.
While you are teaching.
How about disrupt?
A process is disrupted in the middle.
What's the difference between interrupt and disrupt?
Interrupt stop. I think I just guess. Interrupt maybe just interrupt and you can continue, but disrupt something stop and like.
Chris is shaking his head. Yes.
Yeah, I was nodding.
He was nodding. Right. Chris is nodding his head or nodding. So when you shake your head in approval, that's nodding, right? He was nodding. Keep on guessing. Your guess was right on. Yeah? So when you interrupt somebody, maybe you ask a question or you say something that interrupts somebody's lecture or speech. And you usually say, sorry for the interruption, but sorry for the interruption, but, or sorry for interrupting you, but, sorry for the interruption, but, it's good to know this phrase. Somebody's speaking, you need to interrupt. Sorry for the interruption, but I have to go. Sorry for the interruption, but I have a question. Sorry for the interruption, but how do you do that? Sorry for the interruption. But if you interrupt and interrupt and interrupt, you disrupt. Too much interruption, then something stops. So interruption, something stops and continues, right? When disruption happens, it's disrupt. I'm sorry, but you two talking is very disruptive. So when two people are talking in a class, it's not just interrupting, it's very disruptive because the teacher can't concentrate. Disruptive. So his lecture or his speech was disrupted by the hecklers. Hecklers. You know who the hecklers are? President Obama goes somewhere, he's speaking, and then there's a group of hecklers saying, "Stop the war! Stop the war! Stop the war!" Shouting slogans. It's a group of hecklers. Because politicians don't like them, they say they're hecklers. Heckling. So the speech was disrupted. It's not just interrupted, right? So they had to cancel the speech, not cancel it, but for maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, the speech was disrupted. It's not like a second and it's over. If TTC service is disrupted, see service, that is Toronto Transit, is disrupted. It means maybe for 20 minutes there's no bus or there's no traffic, nothing. 20 minutes, that's disruption. Happens a lot, TTC. It's disrupted all the time. The disruptive behavior. Disruptive. Disruptive. You say that behavior is disruptive in the class, for example. Disruptive behavior. So interrupt, interrupted, interruption, disrupt, disruption, disrupted. Disruptive. Frequent questions during lectures can be interruptive or disruptive. Frequent questions can be disruptive. Frequent questions during lectures can be disruptive. The storm caused the disruption in bus service. Disruption in bus service. It was stopped maybe for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. The storm, there was a power outage somewhere. You know, power outage. Power outage. There's a power outage as a result of the storm. Power outage. When the power is out. There's a power outage as a result of the storm. So the bus service, the TTC service, is disrupted by a power outage. Very disruptive. Now, the final word here is kind of hard to. Okay, can you pronounce the final word? It's one of my tricks. What? I don't hear you.
I have no idea.
You have no idea?
Yeah.
Saki? Can you help? I'm being mean. You know what? I'm just being mean now. You've heard of the structure, you're being have you heard the structure, you're being mean? You're being something. You're being mean. You're being mean is different from you're mean. So if you say you're being mean, it's different from you're mean, right? If I say I'm just being mean, I'm just being mean. You can say you're being cruel. You're being mean. You hear this a lot. If I'm being mean, it means I'm doing something mean and I know it at that point. Like yesterday, I heard this "you're being mean" from Two guys were standing. One boy, they were high school guys. One boy was a little short. So there were two girls who were, I don't know, so freaking tall. And that girl kept pointing to this boy who was short, and he wasn't even paying attention. He was talking to his friend. And she was paying, kept doing this. Like, so the boy's friend said, you know what guys, you're being mean. So mean. And then the girl was like, blushed a little bit. No, no, said no, you're being mean. Said, she was being mean. And it wasn't, and he said, then he corrected himself, said, then no, you are mean. So when somebody is mean, is a little different from is being mean. So if you're mean, it means generally you're a mean person. If you're being mean, you're just saying something or doing something mean at that moment. If I say you're being selfish, it doesn't mean that you're a selfish person. If I say you're so selfish, it means you're a selfish person. But if I say, hey Sabrina, let's go, and everybody's going to like a bar to have fun, Sabrina says, no, I can't, I'm not, I won't. And I'm like, you're being selfish, because no one else can go, because Darby said either everybody goes or nobody goes. And I'm like, you're being selfish. You should go. But no, I can't. It's like, you're being selfish. Because no one else can go. Like Darby said, either everyone goes or no one goes. So that means you're not selfish, but you're being selfish right now. What you're doing right now is selfish. So it's good to know. You're being cruel. No, you're being mean. You're being cruel. You're being selfish. Yeah? Now, anyways, the word is pronounced haphazard.
Haphazard.
Yeah, it's because when P and H come together, haphazard. People go like half, and they go like haphazard, but it's haphazard.
Haphazard.
Yeah, haphazard, haphazardly. If something happens haphazardly, it just happens randomly. It just happens. I would say that this is not a haphazard, some haphazard thing. It was obvious that the house was built haphazardly, means not carefully. Susan completed the assignment in a haphazard way, means not. So if the building is built haphazardly, the building is built haphazardly. It means it's just built carelessly and haphazardly. In a haphazard way. She did the assignment in a haphazard way. In a haphazard way. Haphazard. In a haphazard way means not very carefully. A haphazard decision means it's just a random decision. It wasn't carefully thought out, right? Haphazard.